and endless skies. Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive. From mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained I thrive, I thrive.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nomads 50 Plus. My name is Chris Kalaboukis, and once again, we're coming at you live from, actually, that's the wrong intro. Scratch that. Let me start again. Oh, boy. I don't usually do these late in the evening, but I'm revving myself up. So, all right. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nomads 50 Plus. My name is Chris Kalaboukis, and it's my current mission to interview 1,000 digital nomads or 1,000 folks who are in the middle of their midlife recalibrations. And today we have a very special guest. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself and your travels?
Oh, goodness. Well, my name is Crystal Ambrose. So my name is Crystal Ambrose, and I've been traveling pretty heavily since 2017, but last November I travel full time. So I took a year off to travel and work at the same time because I'm a writer, and a lot of the work that I do, the coaching and things like that, is all digital. So I decided to become geographically curious for a whole year. I turned 55. Yeah. Well, I turned 55 last year, and
No,
my kids.
you're under
Oh, I
50.
know.
I was thinking, there's no way I can interview this person. You're too young. You're too
Are you
young.
kidding?
You're below the 50.
No. Well, thank you anyway. No, no, no. I graduated high school in '88. I've earned it. No, but thank you anyway. But yeah, so my kids
Hello?
for a while, and I was just trying to reset my life.
Hmm.
And the funniest thing, it all started by getting frustrated over paying monthly bills. And I remember early in a year, I was going through things before I decided to do all this, and I made the comment. I said, "Oh my gosh, I could travel full time for what I'm paying to rent, a house and everything."
Yeah.
And it stuck.
Hmm.
It just came out of my mouth and it stuck. And over the next so many months, I was like, well, how could I really do this if I wanted it? I said, I don't know if I want to do it permanently. Now, there are people I've met in my travels that do this. Some of them have been doing it for like 10, 15 years
Oh,
now,
yeah.
full-time travel.
Somebody I talked to, she's been doing it for
Yeah.
20 years. So it's crazy.
Yeah. It is.
I don't
And
know
so
how you
I
could
was
have done it before the internet. It's like,
Oh, I don't even want to know. I don't want, I don't want to know. And but yeah, so I thought, well, I've shifted a lot of what I've done over the years. I ran my own business for 15 years. I had a tea shop and a tea room, and I did a lot of stuff. I also do energy work. I'm a Reiki practitioner and things like that. So I've done a lot of work in person.
hmm.
But a lot of my stuff over the past several years has shifted to go online. And I was still working during the pandemic and all of that because business wise, I wasn't able to make it do just that.
Right.
And so I recently, just as of almost exactly a year ago, a little over a year ago, I completely quit working outside of the home and built my business back up so I could just be full time.
Oh,
And then
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and actually, I just finished my second book. I've been wanting to write books forever. I took a lot of the stuff I've been teaching as workshops and put them into books. I just finished the second one, and I'm started on my third book already. It's already completely outlined, and
Wow.
yeah,
Congratulations. That's awesome.
yeah.
That's really
Well,
good.
thank you.
So have you
Yeah,
always wanted
yeah.
to travel since you were a kid?
Yes. I was the little kid that like had the National Geographics and I was like fogging up the pages. Yes. I Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that I've always wanted to travel, always been, and you in very interesting spots. I mean, not many 5-year-olds will look at the Mayan ruins and go, I want to go there. And I did.
Exactly.
And so yeah, and so I did. And it's funny because recently I just got back from, well, I'm in Costa Rica now, but I spent a whole month, a little over a month traveling around the Yucatan, going to several of the Mayan ruin sites because I've always wanted to do that. And I'm researching another book that goes with that one. So that's book number four,
Nice.
actually. But yeah, so that's the main part of, I guess, kind of what I'm in the middle of right now.
Very cool. So let's say, so
Yeah.
were you a corporate employee at some point? Like at some point, did you work for a big company or?
I have over the years. Actually, it's interesting. I started right out of high school. I grew up in Miami. And
Hmm.
so my first job besides the mall job was I worked at a 500 seat restaurant down in Miami Beach.
Hmm.
And I started learning how it was a huge 500 seat, hour wait, valet, parking, whole nine yards. So I started working in kind of, I guess, more hospitality stuff in the beginning and working and running restaurants from other people, and then started doing retail and then ran my own store for 15 years. So for a chunk of time, except for that 15 years, I've worked for somebody else, usually managing teams, which I've
Right.
done in pretty much almost every type of form except tech. So yeah,
Hmm. So did you,
yeah.
uh, did you get burned out from that? I mean, was it a lot, was it, did at
Oh,
some point you said, so I mean,
yeah.
hospitality is hard. I can tell you that. I worked in restaurants. I worked in my parents'
Yeah.
restaurant. It is not an easy gig.
It is not for the faint of heart. I did learn a lot, and it was one of those things that I kind of fell into that job. I went in there to get a job as just a hostess, just seating people. I
Yeah.
was 17 and I'm like, I'll hand menus out, and it kind of took
Yeah.
off from there. It's something I fell into, and I'm good with people, and I'm very intuitive and read people well, which works with my coaching.
Hmm.
But I was burnt out in my early 20s. I was burnt
It's
out.
like, okay, I'm done
I
with
was
this
burnt out.
business. I want to do something else. So you transitioned
Yeah.
into what from there? Is that when you decided to just get a
Um,
regular job or?
well, it's interesting because I didn't have my degree yet. I had kids before I had a degree, and I went back to school when I was 30, and I
Hmm.
went to go get my bachelor's degree in graphic design and major in marketing because
Oh,
I've
nice.
always wanted to work in the marketing field. I've always wanted to work in the advertising business for the longest time. And I just swallowed something wrong.
Oh no.
Hold on.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do a lot of goofball things. That's okay.
That's
It's kind of
fine.
like a dinner in the show. It's dinner in a show when I sit and talk. You never know what's gonna come out. But yeah. So back to what we were saying. I apologize. I totally derailed myself.
No, that's fine. You went back
Yeah.
to school for marketing. So marketing and
Yes.
communications, or
Yes.
and then because you always wanted to
Yeah.
work in an ad
So
agency.
I always wanted to, and graphic design kind of took off. I was always into the manual part of art ever since I was little. Loved drawing, painting, everything to do with art in particular. But the digital part of it didn't start, and so that was like in 2000
Hmm.
is when I went to school. I was 30. My kids were both. I was divorced, two little kids under the age of 5, and went in and did that. Went back to school and did that. And the interesting thing is
Wow, you
going
didn't
into
bite
that
off more than
field.
you can chew, did you?
No, I don't do anything halfway. I don't. I really, I don't. I just never have. But I've always had 50 different things that I'm interested in. And the field that I feel the most, I guess, resonance with is what I do with my energy work and my coaching and things like that. I work really good with highly sensitive or highly empathic people. I'm an empath empowerment coach, basically, is what I call it.
Whoa, I've never heard of one of
So
those.
well, I don't know if actually created that term, but I've been using it for a while because it fits
Hmm.
because it's about working. I have a lot. I'm super sensitive. I have battled ADHD my whole life before they even were talking about what it was, and I found ways to be able to work very efficiently in what I do, and but not burn myself out. And so
Mm.
I've learned those things, and that's a lot of what I do with my coaching and teaching. But that's what I love to do. I've done a lot of intuitive readings. I pull tarot and oracle cards. I'm a psychic medium. There's a lot of things about me, but I'm an energy communicator. I
Mm.
work really well working with clients and energy. So hence the reason why I love going to these energy sites. And that's what I've been doing since I've been traveling. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And then, so let's go back to where did you
Yeah.
get a job in at an agency after that?
I was in college and started into trying to get work. The problem being was every place that wanted to hire me was expecting me to do 70, 80, 90-hour weeks. And I'm
Oh
like, I have
no,
two little kids under the age of 5. I can't do this.
that's not
I
going to
need to
work.
start doing freelance. Yeah. And so I started freelancing work.
Hmm.
And I ended up starting my own business, and that's where it eventually became a store, and then it was a store for 15 years. But I started it mostly as small things, but that's what I did. I was doing a lot of freelance work. My original freelance, I'll never forget that. My freelance business was called Outside the Lines Designs, and
Oh, I
that's what I
love it.
started.
That's a
Yeah,
great
and
name.
so that was me. And I realized really quickly, even though I have a really good eye for all the design part of it, I'm not good at the telling people what they want to hear and selling them things they don't want. I'm too
Right.
Dudley Moore, and I can't remember what movie he would do. There was a movie that Dudley Moore did years ago that he was an ad agent guy, and he gets a little crazy, and then he goes off because yeah, that's more a line of, and I realized it wasn't going to happen. Plus,
So
two little
advertising is
kids.
definitely the wrong field for someone who doesn't want to tell a lie. Right.
Well, that I thought it was like I'm really good at being able to like package design and stuff because when I had my store, I did all of my own work. So
Right.
when I blended tea for 15 years, so I designed all the packaging, all the logos. I did so it worked really well for me, but
Yeah.
that wasn't stuck in the middle of corporate crap. So,
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
actually this, it's cool because it prepared you for your own business. It prepared you for your
It
own
did.
work.
It
Yeah.
did. It did. And probably the biggest thing I've noticed in this past year is mining all of that past experience. Stuff from 30 years ago is relevant now because it helps me do the things that I do. My graphic design experience helped me write my own books and lay my own books. I self-published both of my books.
Hmm.
So I was able to do that because of that. And so it's interesting. One of the things that I've been teaching and I'm working to teach is how to figure out what you have personally and be able to take that and kind of mine that treasure out of there kind of thing. Because everybody's idea of it, and I've met a lot of different people, you have too, talking with people that do all of this roaming around. Everybody has their own personal thing of what feels good to them and what makes them happy. And so it becomes very distilled when you travel,
Yeah.
especially when you long-term travel, you get really clear on what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
easy. It's easy to forget that when you're just in the same
yeah,
place and you're going with the flow sort of thing, right? I
yeah,
mean, that happens.
yeah,
And I find the other
yeah.
thing that happens with people once they get, I'm not going to say older, more experienced.
Yes, more experience. Yes,
We've seen so much that we've actually forgotten some stuff, or we devalue it because we think,
right.
oh, I know that inside and out. So to me, it doesn't have any value, but to other people, it might have immense value. But you can't see it because
Yeah,
you're coming at it from the point of view that, oh, that's old hat to me. I've done that a million times, but
yeah.
somebody else hasn't. So,
Yes,
imparting that
been
knowledge
been there,
upon
done
them.
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yes, I think it's one of the most interesting things because when I travel, I love to spend time talking to other travelers that are kind of doing similar to what I'm doing. One
Yeah.
of the most interesting ones I met was a woman who became an accountability coach, and I
Accountability
said, "What
coach. I
is
like
that?"
that.
And so she said she came from a background of she was either in some type of project management or accounting and all this. So that's her whole job, her whole life. But she said when she wanted to retire, how could she work and travel? And so she says that she went through and tried to figure out what were her skills. And she says, I'm really good at helping people stay accountable. And so
Mm,
that's what she does, all the way down from stay-at-home moms that need to stay accountable to take care of themselves and not get lost in the mom stuff, all the way up to people running their own businesses. And she said, so that's what she does. She says I can chat with them once a week, once a month, once a quarter. She goes, it's whatever works for the client. She says, but I'm an accountability coach. She says, that's what I do. And I was like, that is fabulous. And so, like I said, it's amazing. She took years of experience of stuff she doesn't really want to do, but she took the skill set and then applied it. And she says it's crazy. She says she's making better money now than when she was working in corporate.
yeah.
So
But
go
you think about it,
figure.
it's almost kind of sad that people require accountability coaches now, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's the way it is. I mean, people don't that
Yeah.
skill set has just disappeared from a lot of people. So then you went
Yeah.
back, so you decided to go back into retail for a while, and you said you ran
That
a tea shop? That's cool.
Yeah, it's so funny. I started blending tea. It came from, long story short, it came from a frustration of tea would smell so good but taste nothing like it.
It's
And I'm like,
true. Why is that?
the reason behind this, I will tell you quickly. Most tea companies that add flavoring do it as an alcohol based, like for baking. The
Uh,
problem is in baking, it absorbs into what you're doing, but when the alcohol based flavoring hits heat, it can even make it taste rancid.
yeah,
It changes the chemistry of it.
right.
That's the problem. So when I would flavor teas, I would never use alcohol base. I would always use like freeze dried fruit, or I would infuse vanilla into the tea, and it took like a couple of months to get it to absorb into
Yeah,
the tea.
that's
That it was
interesting.
actual vanilla bean, but that's why. And so
It's kind of like a bait
that
and switch,
started.
right? It smells great, but they know because it's alcohol based that it's going to burn away, and so you
I
don't get the
don't,
same
well,
taste.
it's funny. I don't know. It's really interesting. It's a whole thing. It's a whole, man, I could do a whole show just on that. Um, because I had gone to different tea expos and stuff, and one of the most interesting things came up. It was Ted Smith was the gentleman. He's passed away now, but he used to own, I can't remember. He went through a couple of companies. He started with like not Celestial. He started with like Stash Tea and then went to another one, sold that, sold a different, all the way down till his last tea company was called Ted Smith Tea Company or something.
Hmm.
But he did his blending the same way that I did. And he was talking about you can't use any of the alcohol base. That he says you have to use from base. He says because it changes the chemistry. And I'm like, I knew it. And so yes, so it wasn't just an oddball thing. So in
Well,
short,
so
that's
that
what that
they
is.
know that the tea companies know that, but they
They
still do it.
must.
Is it because the
They
flavorings are cheaper when they're alcohol based? Is that why? Is it to cut the
I
costs?
there's my personal theory is I think a lot of people who make decisions on the big corporate area are looking at numbers on a page and they're not real tea drinkers because anybody who really drinks tea and drinks flavored tea
Yeah.
um, will tell you right away they know when it yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a
So
whole
I know
thing.
we're diverting from the
Yeah.
topic, but
Oh no, that's okay.
what kind of tea should I buy if I want the best stuff? Would it be Celestial or would it
Well,
be?
it depends on what you like. I would blend. I did everything from completely from scratch. So even my Earl Greys, I flavored myself.
Ooh,
And that's bergamot oil, and you
yeah.
can buy it. Italian bergamot oil is the best. It's light and sweet,
Hmm.
and people can flavor their own. But it depends on what somebody's flavor palette is. Some people are more coffee drinkers than they are tea, and so there's certain teas that are very good for that. So it really depends on what your flavor palette is. But it's I would say look more for ones that don't use any type of extract.
Mm,
Like if you see a tea that has like actual lemongrass in it blended in, then that's going to be better than one that uses extract. If it ever
right.
says extract, stay away from it
So just
because
look for the word extract and just don't buy that, basically.
right, because Earl Grey, if it's made correctly, is only bergamot oil. That's all
Hmm.
it is. And bergamot oil won't, it's a natural citrusy oil. It actually is one of the ones that can infuse into the tea and it doesn't affect the flavor.
Mm. Well, Earl Grey is one of
So,
my favorite teas, so thank you. That's very
ah,
helpful.
yes, yes. Oh, well then well when we're not sitting in the middle of this interview, I will send you some ideas of things to blend with Earl Grey.
Hmm.
Like if you get a good Earl Grey base that make it really good. One of them is lemongrass. And that's actually
Ooh,
big in Russia, believe it or not.
really?
Lemongrass and Earl Grey is yeah, I did about 40 or 50 blends just of Earl Greys. I
Wow.
loved playing with Earl Grey.
Earl
Yeah.
Grey,
So that's a whole
it's such a
thing.
great flavor. I mean,
Oh,
I can't get
it
enough of it.
is.
It's so
It
good.
is. It is very good. It is very good. But yeah, yeah.
So you did
So
that. How many years? How long did you do the tea shop for?
15 years. 15
Wow.
years I did that. Yeah. Yeah, I did that for 15 years. And when I went through a divorce and it was a whole mess
This is while you had the
and
tea
had to
shop.
talk about a huh?
This happened while you had the tea shop, when you were running the tea shop.
We were at the end of the 15 years is when I was going through a divorce and it was a whole thing. I had to basically, I wasn't able to sell the business. I had to dismantle it and it became a casualty of the divorce. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I know that.
And so,
I know that.
yes, and so I did a whole restart. And so I've restarted several major times in my life, and that was one of them. And that's the last time I like had a full business full time.
Yeah.
I've always done what I do part time. But that was when I was doing it full time. And then I went back to working for another big company and did that And then the pandemic happened. And then I was like, maybe it was a good idea that I didn't have a business because I closed my shop about just a year before because the pandemic happened was early 2020. So it
Early
was about a
2020.
year.
Yeah. So yeah,
It was
if you'd
only
have had
about
your
a year.
shop, it would have been like kaput. I mean, you would have been in trouble. So it actually
Yeah,
did. It did.
it would have been worse. So
You
it
kind
was
of were on the lucky
everything
side of
happens
things.
for everything happens like it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And then so you went into corporate, but at the time when you were into corporate, were you still thinking about doing your own business and doing something different?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've always had it. I always called it like the crock pot. I have always done wait, well it is. I've always had it slowly
No,
simmering.
that's a great metaphor. I've never heard of it that way
Yes.
before, but that's a great
I
metaphor.
Yeah, I've always had the crock pot going because I've always wanted to have my own business and what I do with my own personal gifts with the intuitiveness and things like that, it's always required me to have some type of way that, yeah. So I've been doing that professionally, like as in people pay me money to do that since I was 20 years old. So over
Really?
35
So you
years
did
now.
this in
Yeah.
addition to everything else that you've been doing. Wow.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So when I had my shop, I did a lot of that stuff there and I worked with clients and stuff. So I've been doing and teaching classes. Yeah. So I've been doing this for a while and I kind of distilled everything down and said, okay, what can go with me on the road and not everything can. And yeah, it's a whole thing.
So so for the point that so was it the divorce that triggered you into wanting to do this on the road, or what was it that triggered you
That
wanted to do
was
it on the road?
the divorce and all of that happened in 2018.
Okay.
And I closed that all down, went back and worked in corporate America again, managing teams and the whole nine yards for a
I
big
love the way
company and
you
stuff.
rolled your eyes when you said managing teams. That was a good one.
It's, I mean, it's hard because it was hard in many ways because my style of management was I was never a clipboard manager. I was always, you never almost knew who the manager was because I was hands-on the whole time. I would work with my team
Right.
because even training somebody, it's better to work with them than in trying to tell them what to do.
Of course.
Um, so I burned myself out pretty hard with that.
Oh
And I
no.
knew, yeah, and I knew I didn't want to do that full time. I knew I wanted to have more freedom. I always wanted to travel. My first trip was in 2017, and that was all she wrote. I went to London for 2 weeks and I said, that's it. Now that I have my
I'm doing
passport,
this
get
full
out of my
time,
way.
damn it. I just don't know
Oh my
when.
God. I did. And I used to joke and say, oh, if I could just go back every 3 months
Hmm.
that would make me happy or every
Yep.
6 months and I did every 6 months for a year and a half. I went every 6 months for like 2 weeks and I went and I did shopping trips for the tea room and stuff because I was in England
Sure.
for that time and I went to Scotland and Ireland, but
It's
I
like a
had such a
capital of tea
bug.
in some for some people.
Don't get me started. Yes. And so, and all the little nibbly bits. And so it was wonderful. And I have such, like, I can't explain it. I am more happy traveling.
Mm,
Now, am I going to do this full time forever? Probably not. I'm probably going to have a home base more so than now, but I am allowing myself a whole year to be geographically curious. So
nice.
I am just dating cities right now. I am. It's like it is. It's like
Yeah.
dating
So which
because
cities have you dated so far? If I can
oh
ask.
my God. The most recent one, and now I can talk about it because I'm not sitting in the middle of it because that's also not a smart thing to be like, yeah, I'm sitting in the middle of, and then
Yeah, you
you
don't want
talk
to do
about where
that.
you are. My favorite one when I was in the Yucatan was Playa del Carmen. I loved
Oh, I
it.
hear
The
that's
beach
beautiful.
was there.
Many people talk about how great that place is.
It was my favorite place. I will tell you, you can rent an apartment there if you want to stay for a month or more for way less,
Mm,
really inexpensive. And everything was walkable. And there was not, and that's the other thing. People are so afraid of all this stuff. And I will say, yes. Does it mean that I would do ridiculous things like be on the street at 2 o'clock in the morning? No.
right.
But there was never once. I traveled to places all across the Yucatan. I went to like 7 or 8 cities, something like that. I never once did I ever feel not safe.
Mm,
So I never felt scared. So many people were always helping, like, hey, do you need something? Even if I wouldn't always understand what they were saying. But Playa del Carmen was the place that I want to go back and spend several months at a shot. I want to go back. that one I
Is it
definitely want to go back and spend more
is
time.
is that not overrun with digital nomads though? I mean, so many people love that place. They talk about it all the
Well,
time, and I'm like, I'm worried about too
well,
many
this is the
expats and
thing.
digital nomads being there.
Well, this is the interesting thing. I was there and I stayed when I went, when I go into a new city, I usually stay at a hostel.
Hmm.
I usually pick ones that are not where all the young ones go and it's all going to be party. I go there where it's like
Wait,
30 and
there's
up.
hostels that are not party? I thought they were all
Yes, there
party.
are. There's so many. Oh, don't even get me started. I almost don't want to share some of them, and I may eventually,
No,
because
but
I
just,
have one.
how would I find them? Do I just have to ask you like surreptitiously through DM,
Uh,
or how would?
I think, well, yes, I think so. I think so. But it's one of these things that one of the best ways is to look in the reviews and look at because they will tell you a lot of them will show the age ranges. So you'll know
Mm,
if most of the people that go there are like in their 20s and 30s, you most likely it's going to be loud and crazy. When
right,
it gets a little older, but a lot of these 30 and ups are digital nomads and they need to get
right.
work done. And
Yeah.
so a lot of these places that I choose usually have co-working spaces. Like there was one in Playa. It was like a nice hotel. It was
Mm.
amazing. It cost me about 150 some dollars a week with tax to stay
Wow, that's
there, and
nothing.
that included breakfast.
Wow,
Like a
that's
cooked
great.
breakfast. Yeah, like a cooked breakfast. And I stayed there, and so I met a lot of digital nomads, and the place, and that one was made for digital nomads.
Hmm.
And I don't think they took over. I think what's happening a lot that's a lot of it is there's such a wide range of age now. So
Mm.
digital nomads are not just 20 and 30-year-olds. A lot
Yep,
of them run the gamut. I met people that were in their 60s and 70s
yep, yep. That's
that do
true.
that. Yeah. And so it really depends. I always say go through the reviews and you'll tell if people are constantly talking about they have a lot of social life, there's a big thing, if they have an actual bar on location,
Yeah.
those are
That's
not
an
the ones you're
indicator.
going to want. Yeah, you're not going to get any sleep. But other than that, I have had some amazing ones. One of my other favorite that was my almost complete favorite, and I have another one that's in Bath in England that's
Bath.
amazing.
I've never been to Bath.
Yes.
I hear it's beautiful.
I have been like 3 or 4 times. I can't even. And if you have Bridgerton fans, they film most of Bridgerton there. They do.
I remember last time we were in the UK was actually last year, and the first thing the
Yeah.
cabbie said is that you guys have to go. You have to leave London, go to Bath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go to
that's where
Bath.
to go.
Oh yes. I tell people that. I say go to London because there are things to go there. The museums, top notch. Most of them they don't even cost to go in. So
Yeah.
yes, I usually tell people don't stay in London proper. You
Mm,
can stay outside of central London as long as you like if you don't want to worry about driving, just be close enough to one of the tube stations. And if
yeah.
you want look how far out that goes, you can stay in a lot of places that are like a third of the cost. You're in a nice neighborhood where you can walk to a grocery store. Everything is right there, little family-owned restaurants. Everything's inexpensive compared to London proper.
Yeah.
But
And
I always
London
say go to
proper
Bath.
plus London proper doesn't you don't get a feel for some reason like I hadn't been back in a long time, but when I went
Yeah.
last year, it just didn't feel like London anymore. It felt like a big cosmopolitan generic city. It didn't have that Londonish thing. And I was like, I'm looking for
You
all
have to go
the
to the pockets.
you
Yeah,
have to
you
go to
have
the
to go to the
pockets.
pocket.
Yeah.
Well, they don't just have neighborhoods, they have pockets there, is what they seem to be. Because it's like you
Yeah.
turn a corner and you're in a whole nother world.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that there are certain pocket neighborhoods that I love to go to. But usually when I get over there, I'll spend a little bit of time in London because I have to hit the Victoria and Albert Museum and
Of
I've got
course.
my things. I've got my things. And then I branch way out.
Do you do the
Yeah.
Harrods thing too, and all the Fortnum and Mason and all that, or is that like
Uh,
too commercial
I
for you?
I go to Harrods, and I will admit this. This is my dirty little secret. I go to Harrods every time I go because they have these long breadsticks that have so many olives in them. There's
Oh
no
yeah,
bread.
those breadsticks, those are amazing.
Oh,
I love
they're
those.
so good. So yes, so I do go to Harrods, and that's what I go for. Every time I go in and get that, and then I get
And then you
right back
leave.
out. I do.
As
I
you do.
do.
You
I
don't go
mean,
to
they
Fortnum and Mason for tea, or is that place overrated?
well, I I am very picky about
You're
tea,
a tea
and
aficionado. You're way up
I
there.
am, and I'm not knocking England, but those places cater very much to the Americans' version of what they think tea is. And
Right.
so when I had my tea shop and had my tea room, I did full British tea. I
Mm.
made lemon curd from scratch. I made my own scones. I did everything from scratch.
Wow. I wish I could go
Yeah,
back in time
so
and visit your tea room. I
oh
think
my
that would have been
God, don't get me
amazing.
started. It was so good. I miss it. I miss the yummies.
Yeah, you can't
But in
really do
short, so
many
I
yummies
yeah.
when you're traveling. It's tough to
Yeah,
be.
well, it's funny. I actually, there's certain things you can eat a lot. You can eat more so than you can back home because they don't bother your system the same. Like when I
It's
eat baked
true.
goods in England, their flour, I even had it shipped in and I would sell it. I had a little baking section. Their flour is very different and it's processed different.
Hmm.
Even their all-purpose, I'm sorry, their self-rising flour, the ratio of baking soda to flour is different than
Mm.
ours. So everything is different. But yeah, I've noticed like when I was in the Yucatan, when I was eating fresh baked breads, they didn't bother my system. When I go
Yeah,
back home, I get rashes and everything.
it's the
Like I
same
have,
here. I have the
yeah.
same problem. I get heartburn whenever I eat American bread. But when I'm in Europe, when I'm in Greece, when I'm
Yeah.
anywhere else, it's like you can go
Oh,
straight to the bakery, spend €1, get this
yeah.
beautiful loaf of bread right out of the oven, and I can eat the whole damn thing and I feel beautiful. It's so good.
Yes. Oh my God, it's crazy. And I think that's the other thing too, is people think you're just going to be eating junk. I say,
No.
I personally, and most of the digital nomads that I know, they don't eat out that often. We mostly stay at places that we can prep our own food,
Yeah.
and local produce and everything is amazing and usually way less expensive. Even when I was, every time, like this last time I went back to London, it was costing me American dollars about $25, $30 a week in groceries.
Wow. That's
And that's,
nothing.
but that's good stuff. That's like a
Yeah.
block of feta cheese. That's Greek olives. That's arugula. That's fresh produce, fresh bread. That's a table worth of groceries.
Yeah.
And depending on where you shop in, because I don't stay inside London proper, but yeah, so it's less expensive. I usually stay at Airbnbs that are like a little apartment, or I stay in hostels or things like that, depending on what I need to do work wise.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a lot less expensive than people realize,
Yeah. Oh,
especially if they're not
absolutely.
staying in regular
Absolutely.
hotels and stuff.
And then, so at some point you just started, is it now that only now that you started sort of peeling off everything that wasn't in person, or have you been doing that for a while?
I started doing that. I'm trying to think. I started doing that about almost 3 years ago. Because I lived outside of Seattle, and then in January of 2019 I moved to Seattle proper, and then I moved back in 2023
Hmm.
after I was in a long-term relationship, then moved back, and I kind of did the whole life restart again. And that's when I
This
said,
is your
okay, everything
third
I
or
do.
fourth restart now. Third or
Oh,
fourth.
I'm getting good at
Are
this.
you
I'm
losing
getting
count?
good at this.
You're getting
I'm
better
getting
at
good
it
at
every
this.
time.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm getting better at it. I am. If nothing else, it's a sense of humor will take you everywhere. Um,
So soon you'll be able
but
to do that. You'll be able to coach
yeah,
it because I've done it. I've gone through
but
it like five times now.
that's funny you say that, because the books that I wrote, the first book that I wrote was after I came back and was healing from that last relationship and my divorce and all that, and it's called Soul Hangry, and so
Mm,
it talks about how to heal the relationship with soul self, and that whole book talks about how to restart your life, but create a life that is authentic to you,
mm, mm.
not what you think you should do or what you've been doing for 25, 30 years. Because a lot of, especially women it was mostly women that I was meeting, but most of them were in their 50s. They're like, my kids are grown, I'm divorced, or I'm a widow, whatever it is. And they're like, I don't know what to do because I was taking care of everybody else my whole life. I don't even know what I want.
Yep.
And so that was part of what I did, because I'm learning that, because that's me.
Hmm.
That's me trying to figure this out
Well,
right
and that's
now.
the best time to do it
So,
because, like you said,
yeah.
all of these things that were changing your life that you were working through, those aren't there anymore. And once they're gone,
Mm-mm.
you have to try and find yourself. Like, who are you? And you were there before. It's
Yep.
just you just need
Yep.
to bring yourself back again.
Yep. And it's interesting because there's one big question. So when I do coaching, there's one big question. And this is one of the questions that's in that I have a guide that I created to help teach people how to curate your life to the point you can travel either full time or part time. And the big question that I have them sit down with the exercise is, how do you want to feel?
Mm.
And everybody is like, what do you mean? These are the things, they'll give me a list. I had a lady that had a spreadsheet and she was so mad when she couldn't keep that spreadsheet in the class. I said, you won't need that. And
Yeah.
she says, but I have a spreadsheet. And she said, these are all the things that I want to have. It's got to have this, 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 this. And I said,
Yeah.
mm-mm. I said, and she argued with me a little. And I said, well, let me ask you something. I said, how long have you had the spreadsheet? She says, about 2.5 years. And I said, well, how's it working?
Yeah. How many
And
of
she's
those
like,
have you checked off?
so she sat down for this exercise. And so the exercise, it's a simple question, but it is the hardest question for people to answer because it triggers everything of how you don't want to feel.
Mm.
But that's what it's supposed to do because it's going to get all the clutter out of the way.
Right.
And so that question is part of like how the exercises work and stuff that I do. But it's interesting because it cracks open this huge thing of I don't know. How do I want to feel? That's
Right.
the biggest thing. And from that, anyone can build either a travel centered life or a home based life. But that's how you build an authentic life. How do you want to feel? Everybody else has been telling you how you should feel. You've been worried about everybody else's feelings your whole life. You've got to now get to know yourself better. And that
Mhm.
question is usually the big one that kicks it off.
Yeah.
So,
And the funny part is that it's something that you've known all your life, really, but you've suppressed it because you've been doing all these other things for other
yep.
people. And then now you're free
Yeah.
to do things for yourself, and you're like, oh my God, can I really do it? It's almost like you have to give yourself permission to go back and do the things that you really want to do.
That's funny you say that because I had an exercise where I had them print out permission slips because I said because a lot of people feel like they need permission to be able to do things that aren't so it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
And when I first did that, people thought that was the funniest thing. And then I had people that wrote me back later, a couple weeks later, like, thank you, that was the best thing you ever did because I started giving myself permission for all kinds of stuff that I never was able to.
Wow.
And I had them write their own permission slips.
I
So
love
that's
it.
funny you say that.
That
Yeah.
works.
And
That worked great.
yeah, so it's funny how it's the little simple things. People, we live in such an information dense society and a technology dense society when we need to curate down and get
Yeah.
to the juicy parts, and
Yeah.
that's where these little things happen. It's just tiny tweaks, just enough for the clarity to kind of come through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So you said you're a Reiki practitioner. Doesn't that something that really needs to be done in person, or can you do it? Can you do
No, you
remotely?
can do it distance. That's one of the things that I've been doing for a long time, distance. Not every Reiki practitioner is comfortable doing that, but it is. It's because it's energy. So I've
Mm.
done it for people and I've done it for land. I've done land realignments, it's a whole thing. But I've
Land
done that.
realignments? What is that? What is a land realignment?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've had clients that I had one lady, for example, she could not sell her house and
Mm.
she didn't understand. She says every time someone would come in, they'd be so excited to see it. They'd walk through the house and they couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Really?
Beautiful house. I saw the pictures. And when I did a energy scan on it and started pulling, I said, okay, well, you've got this underground water that's having this. You've got these power lines over here. And I started talking about all these different things that were energetically affecting that property. And I said, we can realign it and like reroute some things. I said, but that stuff together is causing this huge, just like energy that's like almost like a bug zapper. I said, no
Right.
wonder you're
So
having
people could
issues.
sense it when they walked into the house. They could sense what was going on. Interesting.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
were able to do something about it? How do you do
Oh,
that?
yeah. Well, everybody's a little bit different. So my type of Reiki is more shamanic.
Mm.
I actually do mine now this is some of the stuff that I don't do on the road because I create a big crystal grid system and I do it by proxy,
Mm.
which means I will lay a crystal grid system out that will represent the place that I'm focused, either a person or a place. And by proxy, I can physically do it and do the realignments that way.
But you don't have to be
So,
physically
oh
co-located,
no,
but you still
no.
need things to be able to do it because you wouldn't be able to do it if you were
Um,
remote.
that's how I've done it for a while. Now, the interesting thing is part of me going to these different sacred sites, I've been tapping in and working with the energy of these different sites from a distance my whole life.
Hmm.
Now that I'm physically visiting them, the interesting thing is I'm resetting how I'm going to be able to do it that I won't need maybe a handful. I carry a little, this is so funny, my little shaman bag of crystals. And I have a tiny little stone. So every time I go to places like Mount Shasta, the Mayan sites in the ruins, I have these little tiny stones. So for every place, I have the energy of those places in
Mm.
my bag.
So
And so
so you're creating a location independent version of what you're doing.
right. So this is, yeah, and it's like an amplified version. So now that I have this kit, I'm going to be able to do the same stuff because that's small enough. It's because my studio had all kinds of crystals and several years worth of stuff
Yeah.
and cards. Oh my God. And it's funny that now that I travel, I realize a lot of that I don't need anymore. I've been using a lot of those different pieces, giant crystals. I had all kinds of different energy tools. Big, yeah, in short, a lot
I,
of stuff. I had a lot of stuff.
yeah. Well, and that's a big
Yeah.
problem some nomads have
Yeah.
is letting all that stuff go. I mean, did you have any issues letting it go? Or are you still
Well,
regretting it at all?
I curated everything down to a small, and it's going to go even smaller. It's like a 10 by 10 storage unit right now. So, and
Mm.
it's not even halfway full. It's less than half. And it has the important stuff, my kids' pictures,
Right.
books, some books, a couple of books that I wanted to keep, but a lot of my stuff I just didn't need. I wasn't even looking at them anymore.
Right.
And so I went through and said, I went through and looked at all my stuff and said, do I own you or do you own me? And the things that I
That's a
wanted
good
to
question.
keep, yes. And I had to ask that question. And so I went through and I curated my life down and only kept the things that I really wanted to keep. Baby pictures, little bits of things, little mementos of friends that I've lost over the years. There's different things that I don't want to part with, but if I eventually it's going to get down to even a smaller storage unit because right now I'm traveling.
Right.
So that's what I did before I left. So my lease was expiring in October. So when I left November 3rd, I just had the storage unit. I have mail service that is a business address, that is a legal business address. So that's the other thing. My business license is registered there, and that's the business address for it.
Right.
So Washington State, that's where my business is. And because I'm working remotely, but I'm not working locally, if that makes
Right.
sense. I'm
Yeah.
not working in a shop locally somewhere. So that's how my business works,
Yeah.
if that makes
So
sense.
are you gonna so everything's still channeling through there. You're not gonna
Mhm.
give that up at any point yet because yeah, I mean I think every digital nomad has to have some place where people can bill, people can like your company is domiciled, stuff like that for
Yeah.
tax
Well,
reasons and stuff
yeah.
like that. So that's still a
Yeah. And
requirement.
yeah, and I wanted to keep business, you have to keep your tax files. And so I wanted to have a small little storage unit to keep that. And then I found it's a co-working space where I'm back home that does a business mail, but it's a registered one, which means I can use that as my business address.
Oh,
And
excellent.
they get all my mail and they scan it in and they should they email me and said, do you want us to keep it? Do you want us to shred this? Do you want us to file it? So they handle all my mail for me.
Oh,
And so, yeah.
can I just do that here? I mean, I guess it doesn't
Oh,
matter where you do it.
no.
If I
Well,
could get somebody to
there's
handle
people
my
that are
mail, that would be
local.
amazing.
No, but there's people that work from home that do that, and it's nice because it's not expensive. But in short, so there's co-working spaces that do that. But for me, I needed one that had a registered business license address so I can file my taxes and say that's my business address. So it
Yep.
still shows me as registered there.
Yep.
But I love the fact that I can just I can be 3,000 miles away and go, oh, no, you can go ahead and shred that. I don't
Yeah.
want anything
Don't
to do
need
with
that.
that kind of. Yeah. So it's wonderful. But so I have two things in place. I have a storage unit and I have the mail service. And that's really all I have back home, which is nice.
Yeah.
So,
So the other thing I wanted to ask you about, we talked about
yeah.
safety earlier, but I want to talk about
Yeah.
healthcare. So, I mean, have you
Yeah.
ever had any issues with healthcare outside of the country?
Well, I haven't yet, and I've been traveling since 2017. It's funny because I saw that list of questions you say that you may ask, and
Yeah.
healthcare came up, and I said, I haven't had any problems, but until very recently, I've always had good healthcare, and I was always getting my annual mammograms and all that. I haven't done that in a year, so I do need to figure some things out. But there's other things that I made sure that I always do. Like I always make sure I have really good vitamins that I take with me. There's certain things remineralizing toothpaste is
Oh,
an amazing thing. You can't find it really here. You can find it in Europe.
hmm.
But it is a toothpaste that remineralizes your
I got to
teeth.
write
And
that
so if
down.
you have, yes, so if you have sensitive teeth, it remineralizes your teeth. And so, and it's wonderful because I found when I use that, it even is good for my gums. So I haven't had, knock on wood,
Mm.
I haven't had, but I make sure of certain things. I always make sure, I knew I was leaving for 3 months. I made sure I had a stock of really good vitamins that I'm taking with me because I don't want to have to buy something last minute like that.
Yeah.
Now, if it's something that's going to cost you like 20 bucks or less that you can just buy on the road, don't buy it ahead of time if you think you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's something that's hard to find, like I don't skimp, I get good vitamins that are for me and I make sure I have those. But if it's something like making sure I have 10 different kinds of hairspray, no, I'll just buy it local. You know what I'm saying? You
That's
really
right.
go down to the thing. And the other thing, so talk about health. The other thing is I always make sure, and it's funny because I want to talk about this. When I travel, yes, some places have where you can go to the gym, but not everybody wants to do that. But if you've been out walking, one of the things I have found, and I wanted to share this, is these little bands. And these are great for when your muscles get tired from walking, these little resistance
Oh,
bands.
yeah. What do you do with
But
those?
I lay in the bed and I put one under my foot and I stretch my legs. So at the end of
Ah,
the day, I stretch my legs and it stretches my lower back and you stretch your arms. They're super light to carry. And I found, especially after walking all day, it helps stretch all the muscles in your legs. And you could just lay on a bed and do it.
yeah.
And it's just these little rubber bands.
See what I love?
So,
I love how when I'm not here, I do
mhm.
15,000 steps a day easy
Oh
plus,
yeah.
right? But here it's like I
Yeah.
struggle to get to 6,000. So, I
Yep.
mean, everywhere else
Yeah.
in the world, it's,
Walk,
it's
walk,
so
walk,
easy to
walk.
walk wherever you're
Yes.
going.
See, and that's the thing with me. It's like I do a ton of walking, but by the end of the day, my legs, like my muscles are just, they're grumpy by then. And so I found things like that really work and to make sure I do things like potassium and stuff. But yeah, that's about it. Is making sure I drink a lot of water
Yeah.
because you're doing so much, but it's like those are health things that are preventative.
Yeah.
And they're not hard to do. I mean, it's like I said, but it's being smart about it. That's why the one thing I did have a problem before, I would forget and only have like a week's worth of vitamins and then get stuck trying to buy decent vitamins last
Yeah.
minute somewhere.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
exactly.
yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You
So,
just
so do
don't.
you have health insurance for outside of the country, or do you just pay as you go?
I don't yet. And so yes, I will admit that in public. I haven't done that yet. But now that I've met enough different people that have given me advice, that's the next thing I really need to do. Because
Yeah.
November 3rd was my first trip out. I did a 6 week trip, came home for 2 months, and then I left again. When was it? February 17th. So this is only my second leg of a long trip. So when I go back again is when I'm going to be like, yeah, I need to sit down. If I don't get this done while I'm on the road, I need to pick out. So healthcare is the next thing I need
Yeah.
to figure
Yeah.
out.
And you're
So
able
because
to,
it's important.
so were you able to successfully move enough of your business online so to fund your travels?
And then it's one of those things too, is I also realized because I don't have the overhead that a lot of stuff. I switched it doesn't always work when I'm still working on the cell phone thing, but like my cell phone cost is a lot less because I switched to a company that it cost me like 25 bucks a month and then I get an eSIM.
Nice.
So it's way less expensive than my other. So my regular everyday monthly costs have gone way down.
Hmm.
So my income it's not as balanced as I would like it to be, but I'm still working on several different layers. It's better not to have one thing, and
Oh
that
yeah.
was the thing.
Yeah.
So
You always have
yeah.
to have more than one.
Oh,
So
you've got to.
so if you were to turn around and talk to to somebody who's thinking about getting into this life, what would be your number
Mhm.
one piece of advice? Like they're on the fence, they're thinking about doing it. What would you say? What would be your number one piece of advice?
I guess the biggest thing is to kind of go in and take a good look at why they want to do it, what do they want to experience, and what do they want to get out of it? Like,
Mm.
what is their goal point? Because you don't have to know what you want 5 years from now because you're going to figure things out as you go. Like what
Yeah.
I thought 6 months ago is different than what I think now. 6 months ago, I never would have thought that I want to go spend 2 or 3 months at a time in the Yucatan at that Playa del Carmen. But once I went there and spent 2 weeks there, I said, oh, I could spend 2 months here. And cost wise, I mean, I look at it this way. I can get an apartment there, Wi-Fi, utilities, everything for $500 a month. Where are
Oh,
you going to
that's
get
nothing. That's nothing.
it? Blocks away from the beach. You see, and
Wow.
my groceries there were about, if I was buying all the stuff, like hairspray, everything besides just the food, it could be as high as like $35, $40 a week. So my cost of living is insanely tiny.
Yeah.
And so it
And
was one
and
of these
and
things.
it's healthier. It's a
Yeah.
healthier place to live than where you were, right? You're
Yes.
spending less money
Yeah.
and you're in a much healthier place for general health and wellness and food and everything that's around
Oh
it
my gosh.
is so much
Just
better.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I said so. It's one of these things that when I realized I knew what I wanted, and now I know what it cost me on a monthly basis, plus my home stuff, which is only a couple $100s a month that's costing me, plus my travel. As long as I can make enough to cover what I'm going to spend in that month for travel, then everything else keeps going into my savings. And you stop buying stuff. You only
Mm.
buy the things you need, like groceries,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
And you get smarter about things. And I go home. I plan to go home at least twice a year to switch out my clothes
Hmm.
because if it's gonna be winter, I need to go get my winter clothes.
Right.
And you see what I'm saying? So yeah,
So you're
it's
not
a
going to
whole
chase
thing.
72 degrees like there's some other nomads out there who just
Some
keep moving from
some do
72
that.
degrees everywhere.
No, I can't do that because I love fall. I have to
Yeah.
at least have some fall.
Right.
And my favorite time of the year in the UK is fall, like
Mm.
September, October, going into November. It's my favorite time of the year. So I'm like, yeah, I want to have at least a little bit of that. But I don't want any more snow. I've had enough snow. Oh, I've had so
I,
much
I
snow over the
I know
years.
that feeling. I know that feeling.
Oh
I'm
my
originally from
God.
Toronto, so I had
Oh,
one day. So the thing that triggered me to leave to go to California was one day after a big snowstorm, it took me and three other people 4 hours to shovel my driveway. And I said, okay, that's it. I am done. I am getting out of here.
oh my God. Well, it's funny because I had the worst snow I ever had was in Pennsylvania. My family's from near Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
They're about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh. And I went from living in Miami, I went up there to visit. I was 20 years old. And when it first snowed, I'm like, this is awesome. And then the next morning, we had to climb out the second story window and dig out the front door. And
Oh
then I
my
said, this
God.
is not fun anymore. And then I moved to the Seattle area. Now we get winter, but we get at least three of the seasons
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah.
we get much more of the cold and rain crap than
Yeah. I
it,
almost
it
hate I
rains
almost
more
hate
there.
I almost hate cold rain worse than snow because cold rain just like gets down your neck and it's like ugh, at least with snow it's like generally fluffy and
Yeah, generally fluffy. But yeah, yeah. So I admit for right now, I don't chase just warm weather because I do love fall. But I don't know, maybe that'll change. I don't know.
it depends. I mean,
But
how far into your travels are you now? Did you say you were a year in or how far in are you?
oh no, I just full-time travel, I started last November. So
Okay.
I am not even a whole year into it yet.
So
Full-time. I mean, this
so
is what I do full-time.
so since
Yeah.
November, have you made any changes to your plans or itineraries since then based on what you've been through? Or is it still on track?
Yes. I am definitely never going back during November and going back for November and December.
But it's
No,
Christmas
no, not
time.
November, December. Sorry. I went back home mid December, but I stayed there through January and February. They are the worst months to be in Seattle.
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah. But it's
so
Christmas, right? You have to
rewinded.
see all the family, the kids,
Well, I was
everybody.
there for Christmas, but I
Yeah.
should have came like around December, stayed for December, and then got out of there
Left out.
because
Yeah.
January
Smart.
and February it was like 21 degrees. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I felt like a Smurf. And I said, I can't do this anymore. My body is not happy with this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So
Yeah.
I
So
learned my lesson for that.
come
I
for
will
the
go for
event
the,
and then go.
And my
I love
kids
it.
are older now and stuff. It's like, and I don't have grandkids. They're both long term, but no grandkids. So, and they have big extended families with their partners. My son
Right.
just got married this past year.
Oh,
So it's
congratulations.
like, oh, thank you. Yeah. And so, and it's funny, I'm like, so I'm not coming back for grandkid Christmas. It's like I see my kids, but you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be there for Christmas and
Yeah.
stuff, but man, January and February, I'm going to Playa.
Yeah. Yeah. And now's the time to
I'm
get
go-
the most of your travel in because grandkids are
Yes.
probably going on their way at some point. And by that, and
Shh,
then
not
you're
yet.
going to change your whole your whole life. It's going to be upended again. What's is this
Yeah. Yeah.
restart number 7 or 8? Because you're going to want to
Yes.
see, you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
want to hang out with them. You're going to want to be with
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yes, and that's why I said this was the best time to do it. That's why I say this is like the best time to do a lot of this stuff is you hit your 50s and a lot of stuff really does shift and open. And I'm in a unique place that both of my kids they're not looking at having little ones for a while yet. So I'm like, let's do this
Yeah.
now
This is the
while
time.
I
Get it done.
can. Yes, do it now, do it
I
now,
love
and
it.
I'm
I love it.
happy. Yeah.
Oh, this has been great. Thank you so much. So if someone wants to get in
Oh,
touch
thank
with you,
you.
if someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Well, Substack does have all my information. Actually, I updated a bunch of stuff through there.
Great.
I even just today released both of my books because my new book is out as an ebook pack, and I stuck it on Substack. So if they're
Nice.
interested to go look at those books, it's a good time to do it because I did a special thing for that. But yeah, Substack's a good place. My website and everything is through there. That's my main space now. I don't,
Okay.
yeah, that's my home. I like it too much there.
Sounds great. I know. I love it. I love it too. The place is amazing. So what I'll do is I'll put everything in the show notes when I publish it, and then people can go directly.
Yeah.
So thank you so
Oh
much.
my
This has been
gosh,
great.
thank you.
So
This has
enjoy.
been fun. Thank you.
Yes, so much
And I will
fun.
send you the information about the tea, about the Earl
Pl-
Grey stuff.
please do, because it's my favorite, and I want to up my game.
Yeah, I will totally do that for you. Well, you
Thank you
take
so
care and
much.
thank you so much.
You too. Talk to you
Bye.
later. Bye bye.
Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive from mountain tops to ocean drives on chains.